What's going on, you guys? So about 2 weeks ago or so, my girlfriend, who was driving a 2021 Toyota Corolla, got into a little accident and sort of just decided that it was best to move on from the car and start with something fresh. So as you can see behind me, we picked her up a Mk8 Gti, and she's in love with this thing. I mean, totally different car than what she was used to driving. Now she's got something quick that she can rip around in. And, you know, as being the Volkswagen head that I was in the past, had some leftover parts, so we threw my one-of-one Workseeker FXs on the car. Those are the only set of Workseeker FXs in 5x112 in the United States. So that was pretty dope. We put some tint on it, and then the next thing, as you do with any new Volkswagen, is HR springs. So that's what we're going to be working on today. Get this car dropped down and have it sitting right for her. Since this is the first job that I'm going to be doing on the Swiss Trax floor, I just took a piece of plywood and just cut it up to, you know, just fit the jack stands. Eventually there'll be a lift in here, but I don't want to mess up the floor, so cut those up real quick. Anytime I do springs, I always start in the back just because it's easiest. I mean, one person realistically could do the back end in like half hour, 40 minutes if you know what you're doing. I do both of them at the same time, so I'm going to get the car jacked up, wheels off, and start working on the rear end here. All right, you guys, now that we have the car up in the air, we are going to take out 1, 2, 3 bolts on each side. There is a level sensor on the driver's side for the headlights, so make sure you take that off, because if you go to drop these control arms down, you will snap that sensor, and then your headlights will pretty much point at the ground. So I'm going to take those bolts out, drop the springs out, and put the new ones in. And once you get those bolts out, the springs will pretty much just pop right out like that. Throw that one on the ground, come around to the other side. I know the car's filthy, guys. We live on a dirt road, so excuse me there, but we will need that for the other one. So just twist it out. I'm trying to do this one hand here, hold on. Give me a second, guys. There you go. Just like that. So I started this at like 10:30, and I'm kind of moving a little slow, but about an hour and the rears are out. The reassembly is super quick. So all you have to do is put the new H&R spring in there, bolt everything back up, put it back on the ground, and we'll move up to the front. Just like that, you can see we have the new springs in. Basically, when I'm doing these bolts here, I just do them in the opposite order. So I always start with the sway bar bolt on both sides and get the tension off of that, and then I'll do the shock and then sort of the spindle bolt here. Put them back in the same way. I usually take a picture of the orientation of these bolts just so I don't put them in backwards, but both sides we are installed there. Just have to tighten everything up, put it back on the ground. The Mk8 comes with these little like splash shields over the control arms, which is kind of annoying, but no big deal. They're just 2 bolts. They come right out. 2 bolts in a clip, I should say. So I'm going to tighten everything up and move on to the front. now that we have the rears all done, buttoned up, everything's looking good. That should come down a little bit more after it settles. And once we do the fronts, haven't started on the fronts yet, but that's looking pretty good. Fitment on these wheels is like dialed because, you know, they were custom built for a Audi actually, but same sort of fitment as the Volkswagens. I've had these on 3 Volkswagens, but you can see over here, we're all good. We'll probably do an alignment and 2 new back tires because the back tires are kind of shot, but fitment's looking pretty good. We are going to start working on the front now, pull these wheels off and hopefully knock this out pretty quickly. But this car's coming along in the 2 weeks that we've had it. So front lip, side markers, all that good stuff coming too. Now that we have the front driver's side strut out, we will pop that nut off the top, take all that out. We do have to replace the factory bump stop with the H&R one, otherwise they'll void your warranty, whatever. So on the Mk8s, I think they made the suspension a little taller because I usually, on the Volkswagens, I don't have to take out the axle on the driver's side. But this needed like another 2.5 inches downwards just to be able to lift that out. So, and that axle is in there like crazy tight. So reassembly will be fun, but the biggest part is that, you know, it's out. So still have to do the passenger side. And since I know already that I'm gonna have to do the axle and the ball joint on this side, I'm just gonna knock that out and hopefully be able to drop this all down. Now that I know on this side sort of what the deal is, I can do it a little quicker on the driver or passenger side. So I'm gonna take a little break, have a bite to eat, and keep going on this. And for whatever reason, I didn't video the part where I was disassembling the front strut and putting the other one back together with the new spring, and, you know, whatever, lost that footage. And then, you know, I went ahead, put all this back together, the axles back in. I actually went in easier than I thought it would be. It was a lot more difficult to take it out for whatever reason. Ball joint went on no problem. Now I'm just jacking this back up. I got my top hat bolts, those 3 that go right in the top, so I'm gonna jack it up, gonna do the pinch bolt. Always, like I said on the rear, I do my sway bar links last because you need the tension off of it for the other side. So I am going to just button this side up, and then since I already know what I have to go through to get this out on the other side, hopefully it'll go by a little quicker. And there you have it, guys. So after some struggle in trying to get the axle lined up on this one, help with Brian, he helped me get that in there. So now we have the springs in all around. I just got to button up everything, you know, double check to make sure the top hat bolts are tight, tighten the axle bolt. The last thing to do on this side is just hook up that sway bar link. Like I said, I do that last, just for the tension on the other side. So just gonna go around here, button up everything, make sure it's all good, and put this baby on the ground.